I think I've always been actually quite a fearful person, which people probably wouldn't believe, because I had a really good, successful career and I was always out there selling. And I was very good at selling.
Very confident.
But yeah, I was always fearful. I was always fearful. And I think...
What were you fearful of?
I was fearful about failing.
Mm.
I was fearful about wasting people's time. I was fearful of very many of my bosses. They were formidable. But they had to be formidable.
Yeah.
Because that's why they did what they did. But I think you can pick up a lot from these women. And if you just take a little part of what makes them successful and you build that up, you've got quite a good platform to work from. But I am fearful. And I just have to get on with it. What can I do? It's not going to stop me.
Could you have not done it?
I couldn't have not done it.
Why?
Because I couldn't possibly see Larry go out there every day doing what he does without me by his side.
Oh.
I had to be there. And his wingman, why should he have to do everything?
Yeah, I love that.
And I felt I could actually come on board and contribute something quite meaningful rather than the same skill sets, which we touched on that in the earlier in the podcast. But I could bring something that wasn't there. And he let me do that. And it's proved to be very successful. So yeah, there's no way I would let him do it on his own. No way. That year was glorious. Don't get me wrong. That year out was a joy. Because I'd been...
Had you ever had a year out?
No. I had never had a year out. I didn't have any children. So I'd never had any maternity leave. I got made redundant once from The Economist. It was a disastrous part of my career. And within 6 weeks, I was back working.
And I suppose you being part of the business also gives you an understanding of what Larry is going through as well. So,
of course it does.
And you're a working girl. You've just described you've never not worked. Why would you sit there and just observe and not bring your experience to the party?
Exactly. And in fact, by me working alongside Larry, it took a while, but eventually he was telling me a lot more about what he was feeling and what was going on in the business and what the pitfalls were and what the challenges were, not just what the successes were.
Yeah.
And that was great. Problem shared, problem halved.
Yeah, you weren't getting the highlights reel anymore.
I wasn't getting the highlights. I was getting the whole lot. Yeah, the whole lot, which is brilliant because I need to know the whole lot. I can't just be there making pretty pictures. I have to know everything.